What do you got for me?
What's wrong with you people?
I got nothing for you.
What's wrong?
You're not David. How y'all feel this morning? I feel rotten. That's how I feel. Well, that was enough for me. We could have had the benediction right there. That was so good.
What's going on, everyone, and welcome to The Reformatory, the podcast for the local church and by the local church, and we are your local churchmen. My name is Josh, and I'm here, as always, with the man, the myth, the captain, Jack Barry. Jack, and you're looking snazzy today. Did you dress up just for me?
No, I didn't.
Oh, man.
No, I didn't.
Man, you had an opportunity for friend points, and you're like, yeah, no, don't need them.
No, I don't
Don't
dress
need
up
those.
for Josh, people. I don't dress up for
that's
Josh.
fair.
You know what I dress up for Josh with? A flannel. That's what I dress up for Josh with.
I mean, yeah, understandable. Jack, my man, how are you? It's good to see you. It's been an eventful week. We had to postpone regular recording time because my day yesterday was super busy. Ended up having to run a whole bunch of rebar to a friend's house. So fun times. So if that friend is listening, yes, I postponed for you, my man. Good gracious. But Jack, we've got a lot to talk about today, man. Oh, but we got a fun announcement, ladies and gentlemen. If you follow us on the socials, you will have seen some amazing new merch that has just dropped over on the Reformatory Amazon store, the Baptist line. Jack, we have two brand new Baptist-centric designs that have just dropped over on Amazon. We have the Stay Confessional hoodie and shirt, and then the Particular Baptist hoodie and shirt, both insanely reasonably priced for custom apparel. But ladies and gentlemen, you can click the link in the description of this episode, head on over to our Amazon store, and get yourself some amazing Baptist wear. Or, if you happen to be of the Presby persuasion, we got the Stay Confessional one on there too. We haven't forgot about you guys. We had to show some love to our Baptist brethren. Stay warm, stay stylish, stay Baptist. And that's right. The Baptist line is now released on Amazon. Go get yourself some amazing swag. And stay confessional and look good doing it, Jack. It's what we do. It's what we do here at the Reformatory. We want people to stay confessional, but we don't want them to be boring, and we don't want them to look dumb or sloppy while they're doing it. All right? Be like Jack and dress up for the occasion. All right? It's good stuff. Make sure to head on over there. Check that out. We'd appreciate the support. And if you guys happen to pick some up, make sure to tag us on social so that we can share that around, because we like seeing our listeners all swagged up in some good looking stuff. But Jack, my man, that is all of the announcements that we've got for today. And before we hop into a topic that I am personally very excited about, I love talking about membership. I love talking about just general ecclesiastical goodness. That's what this podcast is built on, right? And we love talking about that. But before we do, it is time to get to everyone's favorite segment. Don't forget to eat your Instagrams.
And now's the time you've all been waiting for. The Reformatory Podcast presents Don't Forget to Eat Your Instantgrams with your hosts, Josh Loftus and Jack Barry. And remember, kids, it's not heresy if you believe it hard enough.
This is Don't Forget to Eat Your Instagrams. And remember, kids, it's not heresy if you believe it hard enough. That's how it works. Jack, speaking of the Instagrams, we blowing up over there on the Reformatory page. You see how much reach some of these reels are getting, dude? We crossed like 120,000.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I know that you shared Pastor Rudy's clip. That recently
I did that one today.
So
that one was good. That one was good. Yeah, shout out Pastor Rudy. But the Reformatory killing it over there on the reels. So as always, send us your Instagrams that you would like us to react to. But Jack, today we have how to say this. We've got both sides of the spectrum when it comes to masculinity.
Oh gosh.
On this one.
Gosh.
I'm hitting,
Oh,
dude.
no.
We're hitting all cylinders today. All right. We're gonna start with the one that I personally, well, actually, I mean, one I actually agree with. It's actually funny. So we've got one that fits in the regular Instagram, and the other one that, you know, it fits the edginess of the reformatory, but at the end of the day, your boy didn't see nothing wrong with it. So, but we're gonna hit you with this one first, Jack. I want to introduce you to this individual. Don't know their name, don't really care, but they've got a message for you and our listeners. Yeah, here you go.
As Christians, our job should not be to point out the problems of others. Our goal should be loving others through action and not just word. In order to love others, you have to put yourself in their eyes of love, not yours. I remember when I was not a believer, and I literally hated Christians because I always felt like they were just trying to tell me how to love and how to live. Are
you sure that was the Christians, or was that the Bible?
Yeah.
Maybe the Bible. Let's continue.
made in his image. He is actually embedded into our DNA. Science has proven this. Reminds me of the one greatest commandment. Love thy neighbor. That's our job.
I think you forgot the first half of that commandment. I think that's the second part. Pretty sure the first part is love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, your mind, and your strength, and then love your neighbor as yourself. It's almost as if you need to do one in order to do the other correctly. But I'm just a hateful Christian. Let's continue.
Neighbor. That's our job. Not to say, hey, this is wrong. You're wrong. Love people where they're at and not where you think they should be. That's exactly what Jesus did to me to save me many a years ago. Not requiring anything but my heart.
Jack, I can't. Did you know, Jack, that all you need to do
Why do you sound
love
like Cartman?
people?
You sound like Cartman
Love
trying to
people
impersonate
enough.
people.
And then I just loved my neighbor, and then everything was fine, and it just ended up being totally cool between me and God. Now I just live how I want, and everything's fine. Jack, the thing is, here's the thing. This came across my feed, and I almost didn't put this in, but I'm like, you know what? No, doggone it. This is trash. This is absolute dog water, and it needs to be called out, because here's the thing, people. You probably already know this. You can't just love people the way that you think love needs to be without the standard of Scripture being your love. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but Jack, okay, we're gonna move on to the direct opposite, other side of this spectrum. I don't know who this guy is, but this came across my feed pretty much right after this dude, and I'm like, you know what? We had some sweet, and it's time for some salty. Okay.
Well, Mexican standoff here. Should the Christian allow himself to be killed since he is secure in his faith in hopes that the non-believer will someday find hope in Christ?
No. You should shoot that mug in the head.
Yeah.
Wow.
John, paging John Piper. Let's continue here.
Well, you're
God
gonna
is
have to give
sovereign
me a
over
why.
salvation. If God wanted to save him, he would have already done it. God is either omnipotent or unable. So I think he's omnipotent and all powerful to save. So it is not up to you and your lack of self-defense that this guy's salvation is resting upon.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Yeah,
right? Here's the thing. I understand. I probably wouldn't have said it the way he said it. I'm speaking for me personally.
Yeah,
I agree with this stance. I am not going to sacrifice the safety of myself or someone else in order that, because I think there's an inherent flaw in that thinking, in that you're presuming that the catalyst of someone's salvation is your actions.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with that mentality. Now, obviously, I think you
might get 20 to life, but I mean,
yeah, well, not if it's self-defense, babe. Well, we are in Washington, actually. Yeah, that's true. You know, Washington.
again, Josh.
Washington is not a great state to want to defend yourself.
You better hope somebody over on like a block away is like videotaping you. Just so
yes,
that you have
I need my cameras up.
Just text somebody, hey, you know.
My
get your
favorite
cameras
part of that
out.
was just no. You shoot that mug in the head.
Dude.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Jack, two sides of the spectrum today, baby. We got yin and yang, man. We got tomato and tomato.
We'll talk about this. We'll talk about the yin and the yang on our podluck. I have some steam I needed
you got
to
some
release.
thoughts. That's right. That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Well, Jack, my friend, that was fun. It's time to get into today's episode, and I'm really looking forward to today's because I think that it's something that a lot of churches deal with, especially churches that have, I would say, a biblical understanding and a biblical priority of biblical membership, right? We believe that membership is biblical. We believe that we see it both in the pages of Scripture as well as in church history. And we think that there is great benefit, health, and all the things to becoming a member at a local church. We've talked about membership ad nauseum. There's many episodes that you can go back and listen to those, and we will continue to talk about it. It's going to be a future ep. But today's ep specifically is talking about how we can make the pipeline, if you will, from attender to member a little bit more efficient, a little bit more intentional, if you will, right? Because we should have an intentionality behind that process. We should want to see and have a goal for the attenders of our church to become members of our church. That's what we should want, right? That's not a bad thing. That's a good and biblical thing, and something that should be encouraged and something that should be cultivated within a culture of a church. I think there's too many churches out there today that are content with attenders simply being attenders without any type of intentionality in pointing them or encouraging them toward membership.
Yeah.
You get that a lot in a lot of the larger churches, the mega church structure. It's just it's part of the beast that you can't escape, right? And that's part of the reason why I'm not a fan of mega churches, is because it's easy to hide. It's easy to simply be a number and not an individual. And membership is something that you can, be as intentional as you want, but the larger your church is, the harder it's going to be to get people through that pipeline. So we're talking about that today. What are some things that we can do as churches practically that help encourage and facilitate the process and the conversation of membership with our people? That's something that we should want. That's something that we should be encouraged to do. So I've written down like 4 or 5 things that Jack and I are just going to kind of go back and forth on some potential strategies, if you will, some practical encouragements that you can do as a church. Some of these are a little easier to do than others. Some of these take a little bit more prep, a little bit more time, right? But that's okay. We're gonna get into these. So Jack, the first one, I think it's kind of an obvious one, but you make a priority of teaching about membership. You make teaching about membership, the importance of membership, why it's biblical, why it's good. You have a great emphasis in your local church on the teaching of membership. Now, it doesn't mean that you're, constantly, creating sermon series on membership, right? Although I think that those can be effective and that there's a place for those.
Yeah.
But what I think this means is that practically the people that are sitting in the pews are hearing from the pulpit, are hearing from the teaching, the importance of one of the primary ways that we live out the instructions that we see in Scripture is in the context of the local church. And I would say specifically in the context of membership. right? And that if you want to live like Christ told you to live, and do the things that he told you to do, wherever you are in Scripture, we're seeking to apply the theology that we're learning, right? Orthodoxy and orthopraxy, we've talked about that before. There should be an outlet for that, and that's something that there needs to be a practical, tangible way for the things that we are preaching to be able to be lived out. And the membership of the local church is one of, not the only, but one of the primary avenues and environments in which those truths are lived out. So we got to teach on it. We got to teach about membership, why it's important, why it's vital, why the lone wolf Christian is not it's not a biblical Christian, right? And this spirit of individuality that we've talked about the last couple eps, why that has to be broken in us. Because it's not the spirit of Christ, it's a spirit of self and wanting to be your own God, wanting to be your own Christ, right? That's ultimately what it is you don't want accountability naturally. We don't want to be held accountable. We don't want to be in community naturally. We want to isolate, right? There's a reason that, when someone is caught in sin, unrepentant sin, you don't see them pressing in a whole lot, right? The tendency is to back out and self-isolate because you don't want what comes with biblical community, and that's accountability, right? And then there's obviously encouragement and mutual pressing one another on toward love and good works. Lots of good things, right? But if you want a culture of membership in your local church, and you want that to be something that is known, something that is appreciated, and is understood, you got to teach on it. It's got to be something that's part of your application. It's got to be something that people are sick and tired of hearing. If I can be tongue in cheek there. Anything on that, Jack? Before you take number 2.
Yeah, I think there's ways in which you could go about teaching about membership. This can be as simple as structuring it, and maybe this kind of leads into point 2. Actually, I think I'm going to lead into point 2 with my thoughts on teaching about membership, because
we're professionals, Jack. It's what we do.
I think they're more applicable. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples from what we do at our local church, right?
Yes.
So there's a way in which I know it's monthly. I think it's the second Sunday, the second Lord's Day in the month. Yeah, I think it is. It's the second Lord's Day in the month where we do a coffee connect, where new people who have been maybe attending for a couple weeks or something along those lines, they can come have coffee, meet our pastors, talk to our pastors. Our pastors talk about probably membership. I haven't been to a coffee connect, but I know that's how they encourage membership at our local church. And then from there as well too, even the time in which we do basically like a class, like a membership class, that's not, your membership class should not be like a we joke about it all the time. It's like not like a timeshare like meeting to where you're just stuck there and you either have to say yes or somehow you got to whittle your way out of saying no a billion times.
Right.
My wife and I actually got stuck in like, we didn't know this.
Yeah.
We were on our honeymoon going down to Mexico, and we basically got like free breakfast and all this stuff. And we got like a tour of this like hotel place, and they were trying to sell timeshares. And I literally had to say no 1,000 times to get out of this, even though we got like a really good like day of just doing stuff. But it didn't matter. Like I had to say no a billion times. So membership classes shouldn't be like a timeshare meeting. Like membership classes should be a time where you actually understand the theology of the church, understand what the church believes about tithing and offerings. That's an important topic to talk about these days, about where do you stand as far as theologically goes? Like, are we more Baptist? Are we more Presbyterian? Are we more quote unquote evangelical or non-denominational in our theology? I would say more evangelical. There's no really non-denominational theology other than smoke machines and laser light shows, I would say. If we're talking about worship. So like, if you want to know those things, like we do it in a way in which we basically do it from capitals to little like lowercase. So uppercase, lowercase. We would say that a lot of people would look at themselves as uppercase reformed. We would look at ourselves as lowercase reformed, meaning like a more broader view of what reformed means.
Right.
Because Reformed Baptists, we are the outsiders of the Reformed world, to be quite honest. Like, we're not welcome to the party.
We are the bad boys.
90% of the time.
The dark side.
You know,
and we love it.
You have to look at like the uppercase letters versus the lowercase letters, right? Some churches can be capital B Baptist because they are in a Baptist denomination, versus we would say that we're like lowercase B Baptist, meaning that we're Credo Baptists, and sometimes we don't take on some of those cultural views of big B Baptists. So there's stuff like that we talk about in that membership class. I think what helped me out the most was just understanding the way in which a belief system is around offering and tithing. Because sure. I think churches who have been a part of Acts 29 or who have been a part of Mars Hill or those adjacent churches have always been accustomed to this 10%. It's either that or nothing kind of model.
Sure,
versus, it's like offering actually isn't really like, it's more than that. It's more than money. It's more than a number. And so at my local church, we talk about like, hey, we're not telling you to like tithe 10%. Like that's completely up to you and the Lord, but offering and tithing is way more than just your money. It's your time. It's your time and what your talents are for using that towards the church and stuff along those lines. And so, but yeah, I think that membership classes need to be more along those lines of like the teaching dynamics of it as well too. But then also you just have to kind of, you could do it in a couple different ways. Like I said, you can do coffee connects, have those like on certain Lord's days of the month. You could do it in
up
a
here
way...
up here in Cedro, where they call them Red Bull roundtables.
Oh my gosh,
it's the blue collar. It's the blue collar.
Yeah. So yeah, there's ways in which you can encourage membership that way. And then there's also other ways. We have usually in your local church, you have men's and women's ministries, right?
Yep.
So we're doing something where we are starting to do that more often and do it in a way in which the women's and the men's ministries, they kind of are starting to kind of bounce ideas off of each other and get ways in which, you do, right now we're going to have like a hockey night. Like we go see the Thunderbirds,
nice.
Towards the end of the month. That can be a way where you can start encouraging membership. Or like what I do as a community group leader, I can encourage membership inside of my community group, which has been pretty sweet to see. I think we had at one point in time, trying to remember, I think it was like 2 couples that came to our church became members. So 2 married couples became members within like, I don't know, last year they became members, but it was just like so sweet to see people in my community group was the majority of the new members in our local church. And so there's stuff like that where you as a local leader, as a community group leader, maybe as a deacon, maybe as a lay elder, you can start to encourage membership through very simple ways, whether that be conversations, even at like a men's ministry event or something along those lines. But you could do it in various different ways that isn't like sign here on the dotted line kind of vibe.
No, absolutely. So. Yeah. And that's how we view our membership classes as well. There isn't a time at the end of those classes where you pull out your sign up sheet and be like, okay, who's in, like who's not, like that's not how we do things. Our membership classes are primarily informational. right? It's for those people to know and understand who we are and what we do and why we do what we do, right? That's what it's for, right? And then those more intentional conversations come later, right? But you're right. Well, not only do we need to, like we said, the first one is teach about membership, and you covered that really well. We have to encourage membership. We have to have opportunities for membership to be encouraged, whether that be gatherings, whether that be classes, whatever that looks like. Membership should not only be taught, but it should be encouraged. There should be practical ways for those who are in attendance to know when and where they can get information about joining the church. It should be accessible, and it should be as often as is needed. Again, just because someone's in the class doesn't mean that they are going to join the church, right?
Yeah.
And I think some churches, are worried like, well, this person's only been here 3 months and they're already asking about membership. That's fine, right? They want to know about the church that they are attending.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing. Just because they go through membership classes doesn't mean that they need to become part of the church, right? Like you still have oversight over that, but encourage membership and encourage those opportunities, right? Number 3, make membership, and this is a sticky one. And again, this is how we do things at church. Not every church does this. All right. So I'm not saying that this is if you're not doing this, then you're somehow doing things wrong. I have found this to be an effective way to encourage membership, and I'll explain why. Number 3 is to make membership a requirement for serving in the local church. Right. Mm-hmm. And right off the bat, some people might be like, whoa, dude, like that's way too strict, right? You're gonna say that only people who are members of your church are the ones that can serve in the church? Yes, and here's why. All right, I applaud and encourage, and I'm thankful when someone comes up to one of us elders and says, "Hey, I want to get more plugged in. I want to get serving in some way." Right, I have this need and I have this desire to do this, right? I love that. It's one of the most encouraging things that I can hear on the Lord's Day. Mm-hmm. If that also goes in tandem with a lack of desire to join the membership of the church, I have some questions, right? Yeah. Why do you have such a desire and a want to serve your brothers and sisters in the church, but you do not want to be in covenant relationship with them?
Yeah.
Why
Very
is
true.
that?
Yeah.
What's going on there? Okay. Again, there can be a lot of reasons for that. It doesn't out of the gate need to be insidious, but I do see it as an inconsistency, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just a lack of understanding of what membership is, why it's important, right? We're right in the middle of our new members classes right now, and these are stuff that we're dealing with. People asking, okay, so why do you require, service to be done by the members? Well, there's practical reasons. One, I want to know who you are, right? If you're going to be serving in the local church, I think you should be part of the local church. If you're going to be placed in a position of responsibility, I want to know that we're on the same page, right? At least as members go, right? I need to know that you are part of us, and we're part of you, right? Mm-hmm. I also want to make sure that you are not trying to seek after the benefits of being a member without the responsibility of being a member, because we can't have it both ways.
Yep.
Right? There's a lot of individuals that treat the local church as, like cohabitating with a boyfriend or a girlfriend. You want the benefits and you gain the benefits, but you don't want any of the commitment.
Yeah.
Right. Again, can be reasons for that. Some more insidious than others, but that is something that needs to be addressed. And that's something that I think needs to be encouraged and worked through. And I have found that one of the best ways to encourage membership is to tie that to serving. If you want to be part of this local church and serve this local church, we're in covenant community together. And I don't think that that's an outrageous thing to require when you break it down like that. Yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I think I agree with you pretty much 98% of the way. I would say there's
I'll take it.
I would say the things that I've seen backfire in not having members serve, or not having, basically not having members serve, but just people attending, is you sometimes do not know their just belief status.
Absolutely.
They may say some very Christian things, but I mean, on the deeper, parts of them, they might be in a situation, if they were members, they would be in like discipline, like member discipline at that point, church discipline at that point.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I've been in one or two situations where we didn't have church members, where we didn't have that caveat where church members, can only serve. And it was, well, anybody can attend, can serve. And that's playing a little bit loose with, this phrase has gotten me a little bit frazzled lately. This whole idea where you can belong before you believe kind of idea.
Yeah.
That's a very seeker sensitive. That's a very, like, you're showing a lot of non-committal at that point.
Well,
You
that's
are.
that's just not how the gospel works.
Yeah. It's just people,
we believe and then we belong.
yeah. It just doesn't, like, I get the whole idea of like certain churches aren't welcoming, but that's the problem with your church. That's not the problem with outsiders not feeling belonged or not feeling a belongingship. No, that's the problem within your local church, and not you welcoming those people and talking to them like quick enough and having hospitality. So
Absolutely.
I have problems with the whole belong before you believe kind of mantra that's been going around like within the last like probably 5 or 10 years.
Yep.
And then, I would say the only caveat to like attend or members maybe serving more, I would say if people have attended and you know them and you know that they're believers and they're on their way towards membership, then I would start maybe opening the gates more.
That is I am comfortable with that caveat.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
So
if they're known, right, and they've been intentional with the relationships, right, and that's obviously a two-way street, and they're in the process of membership, I would be comfortable with that caveat. Yeah.
I think that was my only 2%.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say even disagreement, but just a caveat to that.
Well, I agree with it. So now we're back up to 100,
There
baby.
we
Look
go.
at us
There
go.
we go. So-
Jack, hit us with number 4.
Yeah, so number 4 is really just I think it's number 3 maybe. Oh no, we talked about serving, sorry. Number 4 is press into the attender's objections. So this is where we come into probably the most contested thing that I would say, if your church wants you to become members, is where you're going to get pushback at.
Sure.
I think we've talked about this just bits and pieces. I think where probably Josh, you're going to get pushback. And this is from, I'm in a local church. We would call ourselves, our leadership would call ourselves Reformed Baptist Light.
Sure.
Because
Light,
we take,
yeah.
because we take a plethora of different Protestant confessions and kind of mold them into one, even though we're pretty much on that pathway towards 1689 kind of pathway though. So I would say where we get pushback a lot, and I would see where a lot of Reformed Baptist Second Londoners get pushback a lot, is, well, if I become a member, I have to subscribe to this. I have to subscribe to the 1689.
Sure. Yeah.
I would say a lot of people who like attending local churches, but they hear that your confession is the 1689, they're going to get immediately like pushback against that.
Absolutely.
Or in my case too, we're going to talk more about the Reform dynamics. I think our church gets pushed back a lot when we talk about what it is, when we talk about Reformed theology, what it is we talk about when we talk about Calvinism, what it is when we talk about just even being Credo Baptist or Baptist as well too. So I think those pushbacks are where we get that. And that's where we just kind of have to answer. I think it's not so much like giving in to them. And I think it's not so much kicking them out of the church, but I think it's starting to, it's a tarriness. You have to tarry with those people who are attending who have
Mhm.
objections to just like talk about, hey,
Yes.
you know, we love having you guys here.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's work through these objections.
What would you say are the biggest objections that you have in becoming members?
Right.
And sometimes, I don't know if you get this a lot, Josh. I know you have gotten it in previous churches before, but I think the problem that I get pushback sometimes in is like people want more of a historic Christianity where they want to be in some type of building, where they want to have certain vibes,
Sure.
where they want to have
Yeah.
certain
Yeah.
architecture, and they'll say, I don't want to become a member because this isn't, I'm not
You guys
having
are in a
this
school.
vibe.
Why are you
Yeah.
in a school?
Why are
Is
you in
this
a
actually
school
a church?
auditorium?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, I feel like that's that dynamic that we're set up tear down. I think we get some pushback from that because
Sure.
even though we have a building, that building doesn't accommodate the structure of having one service for everybody all together.
Sure. Sure.
So even trying to look for that next step in before we get a building, I think that's some of a lot of the people's like pushback that we're getting right now. It seems like it could be some other stuff, but I feel like overall those things should be very minute versus what is the church's theology?
Yeah.
How have you felt cared for and loved and taken care of spiritually by the pastors and the other local members of that church? How is the word preached?
Mm-hmm.
How does the church look at the word? And then how has your life in that local church communally been?
Yep.
I would say those are the four
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
of kind of looking at those objections versus I think the aesthetics, I think everything else, even though people don't want to hear this, like, I don't think those matter more than those four things that I just mentioned.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. I mean, you have all manner of objections, right? Whether it's theological or practical, the things that you're bringing up, Jack, where it's just like you seem to have this idea of what a church is in your head, and it's not rooted in scripture; it's rooted in what you culturally grew up with, right? There's all manner of objections, and whether I have to subscribe to the 1689 or not in order to be a member. I think that when we know people have objections or disagreements, I think we automatically have trouble with assuming that they're hostile, and therefore we don't want to engage with those things because we're afraid that it's going to set a grenade off, right? Sometimes people are hostile, and that's something that you have to deal with. In my experience, excuse me, I have found that it's not so much hostility, it's just lack of understanding. And that people don't understand it, therefore people are naturally leery of things that they don't understand. They don't want to embrace that which they don't understand. Maybe they've had bad experiences with membership in the past. Maybe they've had bad experiences with individuals who have called themselves Calvinists and haven't acted like it, right? The whole Reformed theology is a big boogeyman of a term, and they've seen other churches that have, dealt with and lived that doctrine out, and I would say an unbiblical, ungracious way. They're naturally going to be more leery, right? So you're going to have people that have objections in your church toward becoming members, but you can't just let it sit. You can't just be content with them just being on the outside, again, receiving all of the benefits without any of the commitment. Okay. You have to press into those objections. You have to address them. You have to take the initiative and work through them with those people. Now, I'm not saying that it shouldn't take time. I'm not saying that it won't take time. We've had people that have come into membership at Redeemer. We walked with them for 2 years working through different because their background was completely different from everything, almost practically everything that Redeemer teaches and holds to, right? We were willing to do that because there was intentionality there on both sides, right? What we are wanting to make sure is that those objections, whether they're there and the reason or you don't, that they aren't just left to sit and to grow, and for that particular situation to atrophy. We have to press into those objections and be willing to press into those because we want those individuals to become members of the church. We want to overcome those objections through time and through teaching and prayer and fellowship. We want those objections to be overcome so those attenders become members. That's what we want, right? Now, there's some times where that does not work and that doesn't happen, which is where we come to our fifth and final point, right? So we've had teach about membership, encourage membership, make membership a requirement for serving, press into the attender's objections, and fifth and finally, there will be times, and this is tough, but there will be times where you have to encourage that attender to gather elsewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. And this takes some nuance and some talking through, but it's important. Okay. This is not out of a mean-spirited, our way or the highway. If you're not one of us, then get out of town.
Yeah.
That is not the intention, nor is that the spirit that's behind this.
Yep.
This is why I would suggest someone else gather somewhere. If you are coming to Redeemer, and look, we've had this happen. We've had this happen multiple times where we have suggested that someone find a different church, right? I will say this first. It is always it's the last thing that we come to. We try everything else, right? Obviously, I want to work through the person's objections. I want to work through their fears. I want to work through their hesitations. I want to give them all of the information that they require about who we are as a church and how we practice things so that they have zero ignorance and zero ambiguity anywhere. But if it gets to the point where they still have objections at the end of that, my goal is not to grow the numeric value of Redeemer. It's to care for the souls that are there. Primarily those who are members, but that doesn't mean that I don't care for the attenders also. Right. It's not that my care, only extends to the members. And then if you're not a member, then you're going to get the cold shoulder from me. Absolutely not. It just means that the members are primary. Right. But I care for the attender as well. And I know that what would be best for every attender at Redeemer is to become a member of a local church. Whether that is here or whether that's somewhere else, because I know that's what's good for the soul of the Christian, not just the attenders at Redeemer, anywhere, right? I care more about what would be good for their soul than growing the numbers at Redeemer. And if the objections that they have are too much or too great, or there's too much baggage, whatever it is, if Redeemer is not the place where they can become members and thrive and grow together in unity, I want that for them so bad. I would rather them find it somewhere else than to continue to simply attend at Redeemer. And that's a hard convo sometimes because you put a lot of work in, a lot of effort in, and you finally get to the point where you're just like, dude, I don't think this is the place for you.
Yeah.
I don't think this is where you need to be. You obviously don't jive with what we got going here. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And that's okay, right?
Yeah.
Redeemer's not going to be for everybody, right? We're very particular, obviously, in the ways that we do things, right? Not every Christian is going to jive with how we do stuff here. And I get that.
Yeah.
But I want them to be members, because I know that's what's going to be good for them. I would love them to be members at Redeemer, but I want them to be members in general more than I want them to be members at Redeemer. Yeah. So there will come a point where you have to, out of love, care for their soul in the way of directing them and encouraging them to find and gather somewhere where they can be members in good conscience, so that they can receive those benefits. And that's a hard convo for a lot of people to have, because they feel either, a pressure to grow the church, or they don't want to come across as mean and basically telling someone, to hit the road, find somewhere else. I don't think that either of those has to be the motivation.
Yeah. And I think that unfortunately that happens with a lot of churches. A lot of churches take the you're either with us or against us road, which I think is terrible.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Quite honest, especially if you're a confessing Christian I think it were different if that person were leaving the church because of an apostasy reason or a complete wanting
absolutely
to check off everything.
Yeah.
I think there's a different, like, if that Christian is a believing believer,
Yeah.
if that person is a believer and they and just the things that you're doing are violating their conscience, they need to go to a place where they have liberty of the conscience, not it
Absolutely. 100%.
not a completely, how should I say this? I wouldn't say in prison. That's a tough word, but I would say restricted. How about that?
Yeah. We don't want to bind the conscience that where it obviously goes against what they believe is biblical.
And I think what's important too in this conversation is if those people have left on good terms, you need to treat them like believers.
Absolutely.
Like, don't treat the people who leave on wanting to go and exercise their liberty of conscience at another congregation. Don't treat them like they're traitors or like they're non-believers or that they're somehow not they're junior varsity Christians. I think that's the worst thing that a local church can do. Like, if anything, what you should do is pray for those folks, encourage them, reach out to them, love them still, even though they may not be a part of your local church. Like, the least that you can do is send them a text and say, hey, I'm praying for you guys. I hope you find another local church. Hopefully that goes well. Here for you.
Heck, dude, I've sat with people who, obviously aren't really jiving with the Redeemer. I've sat with them and searched local churches with them. Like, hey, let me help you find one. Like, tell me, what are you looking for? I mean, obviously I'm not going to compromise the essentials of Scripture. I'm not going to send them to Christian Science Church or something like that. Right. Obviously it's still, I want it to be orthodox. Right. But I've sat with these folks before and pulled up Google and say, okay, like, what are we looking for? Like, let me help you find something. And I've sent links and sent churches and helped people find somewhere to gather that's other than my church. I think that's the spirit in which this kind of fifth and final step needs to be coded in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I hear horror stories all the time, and I've heard horror story. I mean, it was like Mars Hill. That was a one big long horror story.
Oh yeah,
of just people leaving because of, I think, valid points. I think the valid points were a lot of stuff when it came to there not being a real good mutual connection between the elders and the congregation, and just communication that way, and just being being shepherded. Like, the easiest things of being shepherded in a Mars Hill adjacent church were not great. And so when people are like, hey, we need better community. And if you're leaving because of those things, you should not be treated like a traitor to the faith. You're trying to look after the spiritual well-being of your family and the spiritual well-being of yourself. And hopefully, I mean, if you're leaving with a spouse, your spouse is well too. So through those things, you have to have that kind of demeanor. You can't have this demeanor of when everybody leaves your church, you just treat them like they're second-rate citizens and that they're enemies of you. Like,
they hate us because they ain't us.
Yeah. You can't have that kind of treatment towards fellow believers, because then at that point you're violating commands from the Lord. You're not keeping in step. You're not creating unity within the body. You're actually creating more division, and that's not helpful. So
No, it's not. Absolutely. Okay. So to recap, you want to encourage that pipeline from attenders to members, right? Number one, teach about membership. It's got to come from the pulpit. They got to hear about it. They got to be educated in it. Right. They should hear why it's important. 2, encourage membership, have opportunities for people to hop into that pipeline, make it accessible, make it easy to learn about the church, right? And to hop in. It doesn't mean that you have to have your doors wide open into membership.
Yeah.
but the door should be open into the foyer. You know what I'm saying? Or into the narthex for my Presbyterian brothers and sisters. Let them in, right? It does, and so that they can learn, right? Encourage membership. Number 3, make membership a requirement for serving, right? Narrow that door a little bit. I think you'd find that helps. Number 4, press into the attenders' objections. Don't be afraid of them. Press into them. Don't let them sit. Don't let them grow stagnant. Let's talk through these things. Let's work through these things together. And if all of those fail and the membership is still something that is not desired, then encourage gathering elsewhere and help them find that place. Because we want them to have a spot and to be in a church where they can be members and experience that beauty and that grace and that encouragement and all the things that come with it, because it's good, it's biblical, and it's wonderful. And that's something that we should all want for our brothers and sisters in Christ. So that is what we have to say on that topic. Hope that was encouraging. Hope that you guys appreciated some of those talking points. But Jack, my friend, we've got some Patreon to get to, and why don't you get us out of here?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you appreciate Josh and I's efforts at making the local church central to the believer's life, you can follow us further on the sociables, if you will. You can send us a direct message. You can comment, question, concern us, give us episode ideas, anything along those lines. Send us reels for, don't forget to Instagrams, if you will.
Yes.
All at the tags at Reformatory Pod, so you can check us out on the the metaverse, the Facebook, if you will. The Instagram goes well with chocolate or marshmallow, or a little sprinkle of heresy on top of there, or the sociable formerly known as Twitter X, if you will. Like I said, all of those, all of our sociable sites are at the tag at Reformatory Pod. And Josh, you can tell the lovely people how they might support us further here in our endeavors.
That's right. If you want to support the Reformatory, there's a few ways you can do that. Head on over to YouTube if you want to watch this episode as well as listen to it. It does make the Instagrams a little bit more sweet, and you can see what's going on. You can hit that like, subscribe, comment button, all that good stuff. Hit the little bell for notifications, as the kids say. We would love and appreciate that. Share this podcast with a friend. Maybe, you want someone to be also encouraged, maybe in their membership journey. That would be really, really cool. Share the Reformatory around. We appreciate it. Sharing is indeed caring. And you can rate this podcast and review this podcast on Apple and Spotify. We appreciate that as well. Last but not least, we have a Patreon for $5 a month. That's it. Super cheap. Not even a Starbucks. I brought a latte today for my brother-in-law just to drop it off because I was in the area. It was like $7 for a latte. Yeah, our Patreon's cheaper than one latte at Starbucks, okay? And you get multiple bonus episodes every week. You get exclusive content. You get this episode, the main episode, sent to you early. You get made aware of merch drops weeks before they are released, as it was with this most recent merch drop, the Baptist line. Click in the link below to go to our Amazon store, pick up some Baptist swag. And if you choose to become a Patreon supporter, our pledge to you is that your name shall be hallowed.
Hallowed, sir. Hallowed.
Hallowed through the halls of the podcast. That is our pledge to you. We thank you all for listening, and we will catch you on the next step of the Reformatory.